Hello and welcome to the show. I have a very special guest, and he has someone with him as well. Our special guest is Keith Robinson. He's actor, songwriter, and singer. Hey, Keith, how are you?
Hey, I'm great. How you doing?
Listen, I heard you're on daddy duty today.
I am officially on daddy duty. You're in the midst of a multitask, so bear with me, people. Bear with me.
I love it. So how old is your baby boy?
He is 7 months. He'll be 8 months on Christmas Day.
Casey is 6 months and 7. Okay, well,
7 months. Yeah.
7 months, and so Christmas is going to be his first big one. I guess that he'll know a little bit of what's going on. So, Keith,
baby, as long as he got his milk.
Right, exactly. Well, we appreciate you being on daddy duty and joining us for tonight's show. Listen, Keith, I said actor, songwriter, and singer, and I have to apologize. I knew about the songwriting and acting. Where did the singing come? How did I miss that, Keith?
I don't know how you missed that, actually, because that's what I do first. I was singing in Dreamgirls. People thought I was lip syncing, but music is where it started for me. I had to deal with Motown, and that's what moved me in a band that I was in out here in Los Angeles. So I'm a singer-songwriter first, and the acting was kind of like the divine accident that happened afterwards. So I'm always singing. I got an album out right now called Love Episodic. The new album, Love Episodic 2, will be out top of the year. And there's a new single out right now called Love Language featuring Edley Shine, who's from DC, from Born Americans.
All right.
So reggae joint. So yeah, that's what I do. But don't feel bad. A lot of people say the same thing. Like, I didn't know. But
well, you act so well, so we didn't expect you to be a triple threat. So you definitely are that, right?
That's right.
Add a great dad.
That's right. I can ride a bike and chew gum at the same time.
Keith, you are from Kentucky, if I'm correct. Tell me about your childhood and how, or was music a part of your childhood, and when you discovered then that you had the talent?
Well, I was actually born in Kentucky. I think they cut the umbilical cord and we left. My parents met at Western Kentucky University, so that's kind of how I was conceived. But I grew up in Georgia and South Carolina. So I'm a Georgia Carolina boy. I'm from the South. My family's in Louisville, Kentucky. I got a lot of love in Kentucky. But my formative years were in Georgia and South Carolina. So I hail from the South. That's the South made me.
So your childhood, where did the music come in, or was it until college? I think you went to the University of Georgia, right?
Yeah, well, my mom was a singer. She actually had to deal with Motown way back in the day. My grandmother didn't want her to sing secular music, so I guess she passed it on to me. I ended up getting to deal with Motown, but it started in high school after sports. I was in a band. And after the band, I went off to college and got into another band. Then my freshman year, we got to deal with Motown, and that's kind of what really started my entertainment career, per se.
So Keith, can I assume that this is something you've always wanted to be, a singer or a performer? Was that just?
You know what? I always wanted to be a basketball player. I mean, I think every kid. Yeah, I know. I stopped growing. It's hard to tell. But I was pretty good. But music was always in the backdrop. My brother was always bringing the records home. So whatever I was doing, I'd always be singing and whistling. But it never really dawned on me that I could do it for real. Sports. I was a sports head until my senior year, and I got in a band, and I heard that first scream from the front row, and I was hooked. I was like, "Oh, okay,
that was it.
I think I like this here."
So when you first got into the business, you said Motown. What was that like for you? Your mother had been in the industry as well before you. What was that like for you? Because times are really different now.
Yeah, well, I mean, when we signed, it was a lot of excitement, and then there was some disappointment because it was that first record deal that wasn't the greatest deal. We didn't really read the fine print, but we were just really excited to be in the industry. And we were in Atlanta in a time where there's a renaissance in Atlanta, the early mid '90s, where there was a lot of young groups, a lot of young acts of Face, Bosstown, Dart, Dallas, Austin, Outkast. We were kind of a part of that wave. So it was a lot of excitement around being, in the industry. So it was a learning. If I had to say one word, it was a learning experience, and it kind of got our feet wet, the entertainment business. So, once we got in, there was no turning back for me.
What would you say the top two things that you learned from being in the business then to being in the business now? I mean, obviously, I would say, self-belief. You got to believe in yourself because the rejection rate is very high. And you can't let the industry dictate your level of happiness. You can't let the industry value you because
You know, if you believe in the criticism or the enthusiasm, then you're in a dangerous, vulnerable place. So you have to keep it in perspective. You hear my man? My man is
Casey agrees with you. Yeah, exactly. He's agreeing with you.
KC is co-signing.
So did your mom talk to you and kind of prepare you financially? Because I think the other thing with, you know, women screaming, or at that time, girls screaming at you from wherever they are on TV and in front rows, the next thing that you usually have to get a hold of is your money. And did she talk to you about that? Did you have a story you can share with us, a good thing or a bad thing? Like either I spent it all or I saved it from day one?
Well, the money is the money is up and down. It's like the stock market. I call the entertainment business like Vegas, except instead of playing with chips, you're playing with human beings. Ooh, so you got to learn how to save your money, because some days you're gonna be up, some days you are not. So it's, again, you can't let that dictate or validate your happiness, and you got to stay on the course. And when the payday comes, it's always great. But you know, sometimes they can be far and few. So I mean, this talk about women, I mean, that was well before I got into the entertainment industry. Sure. So I think I was fairly prepared for this amazing journey.
So now since you do acting, you're a songwriter and you're a singer as well. Do you have one that you would say that I just love it more than the other?
You know what? I love them both. It's like having to choose my children, but my firstborn was music. And I feel like that's kind of where it starts and stops with me. If I'm on a set, I'm always vibing and writing a song around the scene in my trailer or off time. So music is always with me, wherever I'm at, whatever mind state I'm in. And I always tell people that every scene has a rhythm to it, and every song has an element of drama. So they kind of go hand in hand for me. It's kind of like just, you know, picking an SUV or sports car and we headed in the same direction. So I love them both. I don't want to choose. Don't make me choose today.
I will not make you choose. So what was your major at Georgia?
I majored in marketing. Go figure.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So I didn't even have to ask. I know that works well with any industry of knowing how to market yourself. Yeah,
it does. I mean, especially now, because, you know, with social media, and even now double down on social media, because this is the only way that we communicate with each other. You are forced to self-promote. And I'm kind of an old school cat where, you know, let the work speak for itself, but that ain't really what we doing today.
No, it isn't.
You got to get on your soapbox, and you got to get on your megaphone, and you got to let people know, and you got to let them know often. So that has been a transition for me, just as personally, just, you know, celebrating or just, you know, letting people know what time it is, because I'm more of a doer than a shower.
Sure. You know? And I understand. I completely understand that. So we talked a little bit about, well, you mentioned actually a little bit about when you're on set, you're writing things. Were you trained for that to write a song? I'm always amazed, and I ask many musical performers that we had on here and artists like you, I'm always amazed about the components of a song and how people actually put it together.
It kind of, I think for me, it was a natural thing, but it was just reps, just a lot of reps. 10,000 hours, they say, makes you somewhat of a professional. And I've had well over 10,000 hours. So just me being a singer, just hearing a lot of music, just doing it since I was 17. It's kind of innately in you. I think as a songwriter, you kind of have that sixth sense, I think, which is what makes great songs. And a lot of subconscious things that happen around you, to people, to friends around you, kind of are always on record. So you're recording things subconsciously and consciously, and then when it's time to sit down and write, it kind of comes back to you. And the more you do it, the more of a natural process it is. So it's kind of second nature to me.
Okay. So since you're in the industry, both acting and as a performer, singing artist, who would you like to see in a versus battle? I know it's left field. I just had to throw that out at you.
Let me think, because we had some good ones now.
Yes, we have.
Who would I like to see? I'd like to see Chris and Usher. And Chris always said that he wouldn't do it, and I get it, because he said he doesn't really need to. But just because I love both of those guys so much, both friends of mine, and especially Chris, and I just love both of their music. Rarely do I hear a record from them that I don't like. So I would love to see both of them do their thing. And I'm an R&B head myself, so I would pull up. I'll have a front row seat to that one.
Listen, you know what I like about them, and no disrespect to all the other versus battles, but those two, I think that's going to be, they have this, it seems like the same number of hit songs that people can relate to. That would be a long versus, but yeah, so I'm going to keep my fingers crossed for that. So getting back into you being a performer, who would you like to perform with?
Who would I like to perform with? I mean, there's a ton of people. That's a long list. Those two guys would be cool.
Okay.
I mean, I'm a fan first, so I mean that's kind of a, you name it. If you throw somebody out there, probably more 9 times out of 10 it would be a yes. I think Sting though is my favorite, one of my favorite all-time artists.
Wait a minute, are you kidding? That's oh wow, I love hearing that.
Yeah, I love Sting. I love his vibe. So I've always been a big fan of him, as he's a true musician, and I love Raphael Sadiq. I love cats that have a high music IQ.
Yeah.
So who are better than me, who push me musically. So I'm definitely who knows? Maybe one day, maybe I'll rush the stage at a Sting concert or something.
I just got a text from someone asking, do you still kind of get, when you have to perform, do you get butterflies? Do you still feel that level?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
And I mean, that's right. There was Lisa from Durham. Sorry.
Yeah. What's up, Lisa from Durham? Yeah. I think those butterflies are just energy. As a performer, you have to embrace those, and if you stop getting those, then something is wrong. I think you always have a certain level of it. You just learn to control it. The more you put yourself in that position. But I chalk it up to energy and gas in the tank, that excitement. So you need that. So yeah, I do. I definitely do.
Thank you very much, Lisa from Durham. So now you told us the new album you have is Love Episodic. So what label are you on? I'm
an independent label. My label is Scenes and Songs. That's my label.
Scenes and Songs.
Scenes, like movie scenes.
Okay, I'm sorry.
It's all good. I know what you're. And Scenes and Songs. So it's on my label. The first album was Love Episodic 1. This is Love Episodic 2. It was supposed to come out this year, but with 2020, I kind of put it on the shelf and kind of let life write some more of the songs. And we're ready to blast off in 2021. So I'm excited for people to hear it.
What can we expect to hear from this album? From since there was a 1 and this is a 2, what can we expect to hear? Anything different?
I think an evolved perspective from a young Black brother who is in the midst of a pandemic and a new son and relationship and the whole nine. I think a lot of things affected me in different ways, and then kind of seeing it through the eyes of someone that I'm taking care of, my son, it kind of really affected my writing. So I think just more evolved idea of life and love for me, from my perspective, and just hopefully as honest and as grassroots as possible that people can connect to it.
Now, for those that want to make sure that they are the first to get it when it drops, how can we follow you?
Everything is Keith Sings. Real easy. One word, Keith Sings. And I'll be constantly giving you updates on when it drops. It's going to drop around the same time as season 5 of Saints and Sinners. Kind of a little cross market thing. See how I do that there.
I do like that. And I do want to talk about that because my phone has been blowing up. And I think we had Andre that asked about it. So let's talk about season 5 of Saints and Sinners. It's coming up and you play Miles. For those who don't know about it, can you kind of give us a little nutshell and then kind of tell us what we can expect without giving away the show?
Well, it's about these individuals who live in this small town of Cyprus, all severely flawed, more sinning than Satan, and it's really a wild ride of a narrative. I mean, my character has been he can't turn nothing down. When it comes to women, he has a wife and a side chick, and they both been knocked up. He has a music career. He's in the church. He's out of the church. He's all over the place. So he represents somebody who's kind of going through the phases of life and trying to find himself. And a lot of people identify with the debauchery of this young man. I don't know why, but I'm glad. But this season is no different. His wife has actually left him finally after a lot of trial and error. And he's trying to find himself with someone else and trying to, pick up the pieces. And whether he picks them up or not, you have to watch it. You have to see.
What do you like about playing Miles?
I like him because first, he's a musician. We have that in common. And then he's nothing like me, how I would really approach my personal life. He's given to his desires, to his instincts. And it's fun to play a character like that because people hate him, but then they love him because they feel for him. It's like, damn, it's kind of like, but all right, Miles. So it's kind of an interesting thing to play between. So I enjoy that a lot.
How do you get into characters that are not like you? And I know that's acting, but how do you get into that?
It really depends. It varies. It varies. Oh, it really varies, because if it's a character that has a lot of layers, then sometimes I'll have to do some research and think and play between the opposites, what's like him and what's not like him, like what's like the character and what's like me. And then for other characters, I kind of just slip right into because I can really identify with them. For real. You see,
Hi, Casey.
Say hey. Say how you doing?
Hi, Casey.
He's turned up.
Is there one particular character in your years of, being a performer that you have been over the years? Is there one that you just really love? Oh, wait, I'm sorry. My train of thought just went off. Rodney wants to know, did you kill Malik? That's a good question.
No, I can't tell you that, bro. Ooh, I can't tell you. I can't. That's gonna mean you have to watch season 5. So I can't let the cat out the bag. So
and it is addictive.
We'll have to see.
It is addictive. Is there one particular character that you really liked preparing for and doing that? Because you're so many things. We're going to talk about A Christmas Love Story. It's a little bit different. That's the Hallmark Channel. But is there any character? Even Dreamgirls. Is there any character that you just really delve into and it was interesting playing?
I played a soldier once on a show called Over There. It was a show on FX, short-lived show, 13-episode show. I actually did it right before Dreamgirls about this conflicted Christian sniper who was killing people, and it was against his religious beliefs, but he still had to carry out his task. So he was in between. He was in constant conflict with carrying out his duties as a soldier and his duties as a Christian. And I thought, and that was a great dynamic, and it gave you a lot of things to pull from. You can look up that show if you want to. It's called Over There. But it was so intense that they pulled it. It was right when the Gulf War had started in 04, 05, I believe. And I really have always been drawn back to that character because that was a really special character for me. And then because it was affecting real soldiers who would come up to me and say thank you. That meant so finally it was kind of my work was actually going beyond the realm of entertainment. You know what I mean? And then of course playing CC for Dreamgirls was awesome because the prep and the company that I was in was, you don't get no better.
Yeah. That's pretty amazing. So it seems like singing and acting go hand in hand, but clearly they're two very different, distinct talents. When did you transition and how did you go into it? Was it simple? I don't even know how people remember lines like that for a whole movie.
Well, I mean, the memory thing is a muscle. It's like anything else. When you use it enough, you begin to, it's just like memorizing. I'm sure you were a great student. You seem very intelligent. So it's the same thing. Memorizing all your material for a test. You just have to do it in front of 30 people. But I think, what was the question? What was the question again?
It seems like, the acting and singing go hand in hand, but I know that those are two different distinctive talents. Did it come natural for you?
It did actually, because I had been performing so long on stage. I mean, the way I got into acting is I went to an acting class in LA when I first moved to LA and I read a scene. The teacher thought I was good. Okay. So I think the natural instincts, pretty much, I think the natural instincts were there, but I still had to study the craft. Because acting is an elusive craft. You got to constantly study because you're constantly changing as a human being. Mm-hmm. So I think it affects your craft. So you have to constantly be studying the craft because it can get away from you and you always are learning new things. So, but I think just the performance aspect, I think I had down from all the reps as a musician.
Well, I see that my producer is giving me a signal that we have a video of you singing. Now we're going to play a little bit and see if we can share that with our fans. So we're going to play the clip now.
Okay. Hey, boy. Hey, boy.
Okay, so I think that we do not have the audio. Okay, that was a clip from Saints and Sinners, and you were singing, and I guess that was season 4. I couldn't tell which season that was from.
That might have been season 1.
Was I wrong?
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe so. Something like that.
My producer. So he's gonna try. We're gonna try to pull that. We're gonna try to pull that back again. Let's talk a little bit about A Christmas Love Story? Because you told me that was actually last year, but to me it's brand new, and so to so many other millions that are trapped at home, right?
Yeah, we actually shot it last year, aired last year, but Hallmark, you know, they tend to run their movies, especially around the holiday season. They never get old. But yeah, it was myself and Kristen Chenoweth, who's you know, she's awesome. So we had a lot of fun. We shot that in North Carolina, and it's just about this children's school. It's a heartwarming story about adoption and a real family movie that you can sit down and nobody has to cover their ears.
That's a good thing, right?
Or their eyes, yeah.
Right, especially with the little one. I know we pay attention to all of that. Can we talk about, I cannot wait, we were off camera. I want to talk to you about the movie Open with Essence Atkins.
Yeah. Well, it's about an open marriage, which seems to be some that's what open comes from. It's
okay.
Which seems to be somewhat of a trend, believe it or not. After having done research, there are a number of open marriages now that are popping up across this land of ours. So we did a movie on it. It's very fun. Essence and I go way back since the days of Half and Half. So
it was that's my show.
Yeah, it was a comfortable environment, and I mean, it spoke to a lot of people. It's a very interesting subject. Could you possibly have a open relationship with your partner? And we kind of tackled that issue, and you know, it was quite a roller coaster ride.
So with your research, explain to me, Open. I mean, whew, that is. I don't know how many of you guys viewing us are. No, it's really heavy. And you know what? To each their own. Seriously, to each their own. So with it being open, I've always told when you bring in a third person or a fourth person into a relationship, things can. What you think is going to happen could very well change. Where you think you're in control, and then emotions get involved, especially if it's someone that you're continuously seeing. So what are some of the things that you learned about those that decide to do open relationships? Not necessarily from the movie, but from the research in and of itself.
Most of the time it don't work.
Okay.
It's a ticking time bomb. I think relationship and open are oxymorons. But there was one particular couple that have done it for 30 some odd years.
What?
And they found it to be very fulfilling. And what I found is that their love wasn't necessarily a monogamous love. It was more like a love, like you love the person as a human being for what they stand for, but not as that romantic ownership love, like you mines. It was kind of a different kind of love that they kind of lived in. From my observation, but they are unicorns, because usually when you open that box, you can't shut it.
You sure can't. You cannot. So, and now where can we go find Open?
Open is on BET. So it came on early this year, right when the pandemic started. They show it all the time. So really, if you check your local BET listings, they can tell you the next time they run it, because they run it all the time. People stop me all the time and say they just saw it. So
now you just said the pandemic, and we talked about this before we actually went live. How has this pandemic changed your life? You're a new dad now, being an actor and a singer. Has it been a huge adjustment for you, or this is the break you needed?
Maybe a combination of both. It's definitely a huge adjustment for all of us, because you can't just up and go somewhere and think like, I can't go because there's a disease out there. But I think as an artist, I spent a lot of time isolated anyway. So that it wasn't. The slope of adjustment might not have been as steep for me, but still adjustment all the same, because under conditions, I want to be able to go see my parents. I want to be able to go and watch a game with some of the homies, and a lot of things that I normally do, I can't do. But on the flip side, having a newborn born in the middle of the epidemic, we got a lot of one-on-one time, uninterrupted, like now. So it's been good. It's been a great bonding experience for me and him. So I try to look at the positives and live in that space, and just ride the wave until we can take these masks off.
Now, listen, so since Saints and Sinners 5 is coming out, when did you guys get a chance to film that?
We already filmed it. We filmed it in Atlanta. I got back. We stopped in October. I was down there for a couple months.
Okay.
And we did it. We just, under very strict protocols, we tested every other day. I've had like 27 of them things up my nose.
Serious.
So, but you have to do it because SAG, the Screen Actors Guild, is very strict about it, and they make sure that everybody is safe. So it's it's a different time we're in.
So what are you working on now? Are there any projects that we can talk about that you are working on movie wise?
Well, aside from the album, I'm working on the Greener Grass Experiment, which is a film that I've been working on for a couple years now, believe it or not. And I finally finished it during the pandemic, which is about which I wrote, directed, and produced and starred in. And I'm very excited. It's a limited series, and we're hoping to find a home for it next year. So I'm excited for people to see that because it's my first time behind the camera where I wore all the hats. So
really,
yeah, it was quite an undertaking, but we got her done, and I'm excited for people to see it.
So then we're going to be able to have actor, songwriter, singer, and producer, director, well, all those, right?
I guess so. I guess we can add a couple commas.
So the Greener Grass Experiment, and again, we just follow you on what social media?
Keith Sings.
Keith Sings.
Yeah.
So Keith, we talked about this being in the middle of the pandemic, and actually we're actually technically in a third wave of it because of the recent Thanksgiving and getting ready to have the Christmas break. What do you see as far as the horizon when you'll be able to get back into the theater or production?
Well, production is still going on. I mean, Hollywood is considered essential, so they're doing a lot of testing. So it's still going on. It's a lot less. It's more exclusive, but production is still going on. As far as live theater, as far as live audiences, I don't really see us really being able to get back to that until 2022, really late 2021, 2022, until this vaccine really filters through a majority of our population. So I think we're going to be on this Zoom and this Netflix for a little while longer.
So with you having a new album out, and are you going to be doing any performances virtually? I'm just wondering, because that's usually you put an album out and there's a performance. How does that work for you?
Yeah, it would be a virtual concert. I would do a couple virtual concerts and just, constantly communicate virally the best way I can with the fans, with stuff like this, let people letting people know and put it out there. And, this is kind of the world we live in now with each other. So we just have to make that adjustment.
Keith, I have a question from a fan who didn't leave their name. They want to know about your stand-up. What's that about?
Well, they're confusing me with the Keith Robinson, who is a friend of Kevin Hart. I did a movie with Kevin Hart, but Keith Robinson is an older gentleman who a lot of people ask about. He's a comedian, so wrong Keith Robinson.
See, wrong Keith Robinson. But
it's all good. And I have done some stand-up before, but I wouldn't charge you for it. It was funny though.
Was it good? Was it good?
Oh, it was hilarious.
So now stand-up in a movie or just, actually at a place performance, a comedy club?
Just at a place. And I do it for my little guy every day.
Oh, so you said 7 months, right, Casey?
Yep.
Little man. Now you have any other kids?
I don't. It's my first one.
Okay, you said so. Okay, so one being the music and the other one being little Casey. There, you have a brother and a sister. Are they in the industry?
No, not at all. My sister's a nurse. And my brother is a businessman in business.
Oh, prayers go out to your sister during this time, especially with the pandemic.
Yes, and she just had a son too. She has a 6-month-old.
Oh, hopefully you guys are close so you can at least possibly see each other.
Yeah, she's in San Fran, but we haven't seen each other yet. They haven't met yet because of the corona, but hopefully soon.
Yeah, this is a real tough time for families, and they're doing the virtual things. I always wonder how families like yourself with small kids. I don't obviously think there's masks for babies, and just thinking about, do I want them going outside? Because there's no telling if this virus is going to mutate or change and become an issue for infants. So I can just imagine.
I hope not. Yeah, I hope not.
Prayers are definitely with you and new parents that are out there. I want to take a second to talk about your love language. You said you released it in Valentine's Day this year, right?
Yeah, Love Language came out. It was in the movie Open, actually, and I just released a remix called Love Language, the Ocean remix with Edley Shine from the Born Americans, a reggae version, which is out. It actually drops tomorrow, the 11th. So you can pick that up. So there's a regular Love Language and there's a Love Language remix.
Okay, remix, and it's out tomorrow.
All
right, we're going to take a really quick break because my producer just said that he's got your video clip, another one, and we're going to talk about it afterwards. Take it away.
Sounds good.
And now, an exclusive sneak peek at the all-new Bounce TV original series, Saints and Sinners. Brought to you by AT&T, mobilizing your world.
I'm in pain, talking low.
This is Keith Robinson, and I play the role of Miles Calloway on the brand new show Saints and Sinners. Miles Calloway is a music phenom. He's had a couple smash hits on the R&B charts, and now he is the head of the music ministry here at the church.
Keep on holding on.
He's a little shifty in his personal life. He has his own demons that he's dealing with.
Admit that you are a lying, cheating bastard. Go ahead and say it.
It was just a fling. It didn't mean anything.
Miles doesn't have a lot of self-control, I think, when it comes to his fleshly desires.
Can a man love two women?
Miles reacting to the triangle between him and Christian when he finds out that he's the side dude and he's used to having side chicks, it's a little jolting for him.
Levi is a good guy. He's just having a rough time.
See, he got you under his spell too, huh?
Are you worried?
I think there's a competition between Miles and Levi. I mean, for one, Miles has been in the church for years, and Levi kind of comes out of the blue and is kind of favored by the pastor.
Surprised they're not giving you the key to the city today. Pastor giving you everything else.
See, that's your problem, Miles. You're always worried about everybody else's business.
This is my business.
The writing allows you to show that nobody's perfect. We're all just trying to be the best people that we can be. And I think this show is not afraid to do that.
Seems like every time another black man steps up to lead, he gets shot back down.
When the pastor is killed, it kind of leaves the rest of the congregation scrambling to find their place in the church and how to move forward with their lives. I think the chances of me being a suspect are pretty high. We're all suspects.
Saints and Sinners, an all-new episode, Sunday, 9/8 Central. Only on Bounce TV Our Way.
I really like that trailer. If you're just tuning into the show now, today our special guest is Keith Robinson, and that adorable little cough that you hear there is his 7-month-old baby boy, Casey. So Keith is doing daddy duty.
Yes, I'm showing him a book and talking to you.
Yes, and Shirley, thank you so much for tuning in. Keith, they're sending you love from Clinton, Maryland. Miss Shirley out there. Keith
How you doing, Miss Shirley?
So he's an actor, songwriter, a singer. You just saw a clip there. Saints and Sinners season 5 coming. He plays Miles. Yes, you know.
Yes.
It's an addictive program, right? So Bounce really hit. They really hit when this came out. Everyone was going crazy about this. So it was really great. And it's a cast of some amazing talent that you're performing with. That has got to be fun.
Yeah, it took off. I mean, it was kind of a sleeper hit. We didn't expect it to be around this long, to be honest, but we're happy and we're just thankful that everybody's enjoying it.
Now, who are the producers of this?
Swirl Films, Bounce TV, Swirl Films, and it's on Hulu as well.
Yes. Okay.
So
that's where I see.
You can catch up on Hulu.
So those that are just tuning into, you have a new album that's dropped, Love Episodic. How can we, well, for those who didn't hear from the first part when you came on the show, tell us a little bit about this, because it's kind of a part 2, right?
Yeah, Love Episodic 1 is out now. It's been out for a while, a couple years actually. The new single, Love Language, is out, as well as the remix, which will be out tomorrow. But Love Episodic 2 will be out after the new year. And it's actually going to drop the same week season 5 of Saints and Sinners comes out. So you can watch and listen that week. So I'm excited. I hope people dig it.
And they can follow you and find out and keep up with you by going where?
Keith Sings. Everything is Keith Sings.
Keith Sings. So, we were talking about, you were talking about Saints and Sinners. We were talking about your new album. We were talking about some things, with you growing up, well, being born in Kentucky, but raised in the South, going to the University of Georgia. With all this mixture in you, what do you see? We've gone through a lot this year with the pandemic. We had a tumultuous presidential election. It's still it's resolved, but it's not really resolved. With your background being in entertainment and being just a regular person, I know you were encouraging people to head out to the polls. Where do you see us as we go into 2021 with this pandemic? I know you spoke before, hoping that this vaccine will start changing things. What are your thoughts? Are you optimistic about this country as we move forward? For sure, I see light at the end of the tunnel. I think we're in the eye of the storm now, but I can see we're headed out. I think for those of us that survived, we had a reorganization of priorities for sure. I think it'll be a more sensible world. I'm hoping because
our value system, I think, really got shaken up a lot. So I think that's a good thing. I mean, it's hard, it's tough for a lot of loved ones that we lost, which that'll never be the same. But you know, it's just like you know, strong labor pains. But I think something will be born out of this great. I'm on the side of optimism always. So I'm just thankful that I'm still here, and I'm able to still function, and I got my little man, and I'm gonna be around for the Renaissance.
That is important. DM said congratulations to you about your son, and wanted to know, she has a daughter and a son that want to get into the industry. One wants to act, one wants to sing. She wants to know if you have any advice for them.
I would
They're
say
still
to
young.
get in their local acting classes, perfect their craft, get into music, sing, practice their craft, try to get into local plays, and just keep it in perspective and just have fun right now. Have as much fun as you can and get as good at it, and don't let it dictate your happiness, and don't give yourself a deadline. You know, if you want to be an artist, it's a lifelong thing. It's ups and downs, but it's possible. It's tough. It's a tough road, but it's a rewarding one. So, you know, if I did it, you can too.
So, you know, kind of piggybacking on this question, because I think sometimes, you know, when I go to schools and I speak to kids and they think about either being on the radio or being in talent, an actor or a singer, they only see the end product, a superstar, and the belief of millions of dollars, and not the work that goes into it. One of the things that always concern me is when people jump into, I always hear about these acting schools. What should you look for? I mean, I'm not saying that you're an endorsing one, but what do you look for if you are, you know, you're in a Maryland versus being in an LA or New York? What do you look for in an acting school if you're talking to your kids?
I mean, it kind of varies. I mean, I think you just want to look for a school where the acting coach has some sort of experience in the industry. They teach scene study. They're about the work. They're really about the work. They're about their craft. They have a certain technique that they can teach. They're disciplined, and they're not trying to suck money out of you. It's not just a bottomless pit of them trying to get paid and say, we can put you on, and I know this person, because 9 times out of 10 they can't. You know, a lot of it is up to God, and you've been in the right place to be. And if you're good enough and disciplined enough and focused enough, they will find you.
And let me say this, I think this is important. So do you believe, we've had many debates on this show about this, that you do have to move to either a California or New York if you want to get in the business? Just asking.
Yes.
Okay, there we go.
Or now Atlanta.
Oh,
and if you don't move, you got to be in the city. You got to be around the auditions. You got to be, you know, and you got to put yourself in position to be chosen. I mean, if you live in, you know, Biloxi, ain't no movie directors, ain't no auditions, you know.
Yep.
I mean, we shot James Brown in Mississippi, but we casted it in Los Angeles.
Okay.
So, you know, you kind of got to be in the mix. You know, if you want to be in politics, you probably got to be in DC, right?
Okay, that's right. So listen, can you tell us do you still kind of, your auditions?
Yes.
You're an A-lister actor. What is that like?
I wouldn't say I'm an A-lister. Thank you though. I would love to be an A-lister. Me and Denzel don't compete for the same roles right now. But what was the question?
Well, you know, I mean, what is the audition process like for you?
Well, now it's all self-tape. Now it's you get the audition from your agent. Yeah, because nobody's going in rooms anymore right now. So you got to find a tape house or tape it at your house and find a reader and throw it on tape and send it in.
Wow.
That's where the industry's at now. Yeah, because, you know, it was already headed that way a little bit.
Okay.
But now with COVID, it's all self-tape. Unless they know you, they want you, you're on a short list and you have a certain rapport with the producers, you know.
Keith, do you think we're ever going to go back? I mean, literally, this pandemic has changed how people do. I mean, right now, this is not entertainment, but the government here, we have so many people working from home and still getting the job done. Some people are saying their offices may never open up. Is this a game changer for the industry?
Absolutely. I think it's a game changer for everybody because you realize, you know, like you say, it's a reprioritization. You know what I'm saying? Whatever that word is.
Yeah.
Reorganization of priorities, basically. So, you know, if you got a big staff or you got you can get some things done without having to put out the excess overhead, then of course, as a business, as an entrepreneur, as a company, you're going to take that. And I think this has forced us to figure it out. So in figuring it out, we found that, hey, this is actually a better, more efficient way.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Doing
that's
stuff
just
from
how it
home.
is. Yeah.
So we've got some questions. They want to know, do you have an interest in the theater, doing stage work? Obviously not now.
I do. Well, absolutely. I mean, I would always love to. I had a couple opportunities to play Broadway. I just was conflicting projects. It didn't work. But yeah, Broadway is definitely on my bucket list for sure.
So that is something on yours. And I have another person, I believe her name is Denisha, wants to know how your family feels about your career and your celebrity.
They're proud of me. I think they're proud of me because they see behind the clothes. They see the struggle. They've seen the grind from day one. So I think they're just happy that I'm still the same person that left the house.
Yeah.
And I'm able to make a living and support a family off of a dream, a thing that I had, a hunch that I had. And because they really didn't have any experience in it, so they were just, wanted me to do something and stick with it. And I think I've showed them that I'm gonna stick with it. Ain't no changing up now. So
and I love this.
I think they're proud of me.
I love your character in this Christmas. So and so many other things as well. So that's got to be exciting for your family to see you and to continually play, and people so excited about the movies that you're in and the characters that you portray, because somebody fits it. Believe it or not, someone fits it. I'm trying to see. There's another question coming in. Someone asked about your love language. They said it's already out. They asked a question about love language again.
Love language. The original is already out. It's on Spotify. It's available on all digital outlets, and the remix will be out tomorrow. But love language, the original version, is out right now.
Out right now. Yep. I'll tell you what. So what can we expect next from you? Listen, we've got 2021 is around the corner. 3 weeks away, right? Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Can't believe that.
Well, hopefully more music, a full body of work for me, where you guys can really see a full spectrum of what it is that I do as an artist. Hopefully less and less people finding out that I sing. And I think Greener Grass Experiment is going to be very interesting. It's a very interesting project, and one that I've really has been my baby for a long time. So I'm excited to show people what it is that I do from all aspects, basically. I think my little guy's getting sleepy.
Yeah, and man. you've been, and Casey, he's been doing so well.
He's been doing awesome.
Really, I know. In the middle of the day, just chilling there with his dad, and Dad, I have to, really thank you doing daddy duty. I love the fact that, this is what you do. You're a father, and you're still reaching out to the community. Are there other things that you're doing to reach out to your fans via social media?
Well, I'm always competing with my fans from the sun up, sundown. I'm always talking to them in whatever way I can. I do a lot of things, charity work whenever I'm able to. So, it's kind of tough now with the COVID, but I'm a very accessible person. So if you holler at me, I'll holler back 9 times out of 10, as long as we're on the same page.
So I know, now listen, you because you are a singer, you're an actor, you're soon to be a director as well. Are you coming up with any product lines? Is there anything that we're going to have that we have your name on it, or the Green Grass Experiment?
There'll be some merchandise, but I've been kind of kicking it around, doing some children's music, some children's stuff. Because I got a kid, he really loves the singing part. He really loves to hear me sing. So
at 7 months, wow.
Yeah, he really loves it.
You already noticed it. Oh my goodness.
Yeah. Now, he really. So I think kids really respond to sounds. So I'm really interested in exploring that from another perspective. So I'm definitely that's got my interest peaked for sure.
Well, Keith, as we slowly wrap up our interview with you, and again, we just have to thank you so much for joining us. I want you to share something with people who are either one, just getting to know you outside of being the actor and the dad and the songwriter. Anything you want to share with us as we kind of close out our segment with you?
Share with me personally about me, or?
This, in pandemic, we don't have anything else to do. We know the movies. Now we want to know you.
Well, I love to cook. I'm a sports fanatic. I'm a believer. You know what I mean? I really am strong in my faith. I'm trying to get even stronger in that area. And I just want to be a conduit of good energy to people, especially in times like this. And hopefully my person, my walk, and what I do artistically kind of speaks to that, and it's kind of I'm just trying to be a light in dark places
I love hearing that.
Wherever I can, and that's pretty much who I am in a nutshell. You know, I'm pretty accessible, and I try to be more of an influence than to be influenced. And what's going on with social media and what's going on out here in the world, and that's pretty much who I am. And I'm just a lover of the craft. I just love the arts. I love music. I love movies, and I love to eat.
What is your favorite thing to cook? Come on, you can't say that you cook and or like to cook if you don't know what you like to cook.
I mean, I could hook a mean steak up. I like lobster tails. I'm really into lobster tails lately. I've been cooking a lot of those, a lot of seafood.
Okay.
I did this, you know, a lot of basic stuff, but my hand is getting a lot better, especially because this internet thing where they tell you exactly what to put in there and stir, the temp.
Yes.
I follow directions to a T, and it always comes out great.
Wait, so are you saying that you became a cook during the pandemic, or you've always had it?
I became a cook when I became a bachelor. So
okay.
I become but I'm more of a cook now because, you know, you can't just run out everywhere and eat a meal. You got to cook.
That's
you know, three hots in a cot. So so it's kind of really forced me to get my Chef Boyardee on.
Well, I know Norman wanted to play real quick before we let you go. We want to play that clip. Saints and Sinners season 5, by the way, is coming up. He plays Miles, and also his new album, which also comes out around the same time, Love Episodic. Yep. So we're going to play this clip real quick, and then he's going to say goodbye to us. All right?
Awesome. Oh, yeah.
Casey, I just want to take him home. Okay, so I'm so sorry. He's trying to bring it up and it's not coming through. Listen, Keith Robinson, actor, songwriter, singer, soon to be director, and a daddy who's taking care of his son while he's talking to us. Thank you so very much for spending time with us today to share your story. We look forward to following you, and I'm going to give you a second to tell how everyone is. Keith Sings, right? Keith Sings.
Yep, that's my Instagram, my Twitter, my Facebook. Hit me and I'll hit you back.
All right. Well, you guys have a great weekend, and thank you so much for joining the show, Keith.
Say bye.
Oh, bye, sweetie.
Say bye.
You did so good. All right. Until next week, God bless and goodbye.
God bless.